The organization culture can be defined in various ways. The collection of tradition, values, policies, beliefs, and attitude that constitute a pervasive context for everything we do and think in an organization. A pattern of belief and expectation shared by the organization's members and which produce norms which powerfully shape the behavior of individual and group in organization. The way we do things around here. There are three different levels: observable, unobservable, and assumptions. What shapes culture? Culture can be influenced by the attitudes of founders of organization. Ford and Tesla might be good example, and it can work well or badly. It can also be influenced by prevalent attitudes at the time that the organization began. London Underground is still strongly influenced by its cultural from the 1920s, when a lot of its now iconic feature, tube map, roundel, and font. Organization culture will also be affected by local and national culture. It can be shaped purely by remaining in the same buildings as built many years ago. For example, Paisley Town Hall, Glasgow City Chambers, and the House of Parliaments. Advantage of culture. Culture can be useful for motivation and has potential not only to drive change, but also in certain circumstances to prevent it from taking place. Charles Handy's research led him to differentiate between four types of organizations in terms of culture. Each of Handy's type of organization is given the name of a different Greek god. These are Zeus, power culture; Apollo, role culture; Athena, task culture; Dionysius, person culture. It is important to remember that it is possible for element of cultures mentioned above to exist in different parts of the same organization. In power culture, there is one major source of power. Power is direct and personal. Such an organization is likely to be small and is capable of adapting quickly to change. To work in such an organization, it is necessary to get on with the personality of the owner or manager, who is the main source of power. For example, a small coffee shop where the decision made by a single person who is manager or an owner. A role culture is likely to exist in classical organization with hierarchies. It is suited to large organization. There are formal structure and rule is by rules and procedure. The organization is bureaucratic and everyone does their job, but little extra. A role culture is suited to a stable, predictable environment, but there are likely to be problems in meeting change and with quick decision making. If you work in such an organization, you have to get on with your boss and have to get on with the system, the organization system. The example could be a major public sector organizations. The risk of doing extra is around than trading on other people's toes or bypassing the bureaucratic process. In a task culture, the task is more important than the structure. There is no dominant or clear leader, or performance is judged by result. Teams form for tasks. The strength is the team. This can be expensive as experts are used in these teams. Someone who works under such a culture has to get on with their colleague. Team cultures often require to be creative, but that increases the risk of expensive mistake. In a person culture, The organization exists to satisfy the needs of individuals. It serves the individuals who make it up. Examples are clubs and partnerships. If you work in such an organization, you have to get on with your fellow partners. Examples are a small accounting partnership, architects or a specific consulting firm, and barrister chambers. Success depends on the talent of the partners in questions, and management is by consent. The actual partner must choose to agree to certain approach and policies. Other positions in the firm are likely to be subordinate to the partner group, such as secretarial assistants, reception, and finance officer. Culture is an invisible bond that ties people of the community together. Differing cultures across the world have brought different diversity to the way of life. Culture is related to an individual's attitude and beliefs. What are the influences of the organization culture? The influences of organization cultures are size, technology, diversity, history, and ownership. Size is like turnover and number of employees working in the organization. And then technology in terms of its product or its process. Diversity in terms of the product range, geographical spread, cultural makeup of its stakeholder. And history of the organization culture is what has worked well in the past. Are they willing to learn from their mistakes? And age of the business or manager of the business. Advantages of a strong culture: it creates good communication and coordination, and it provides a framework of social identify and a sense of belongings. It reduces the differences among members of the organization, and it helps to strengthen dominant values and attitude. It affects the organization strategy and ability to respond to change. There are some disadvantages of a strong organization culture. Uh, because it's very strong culture is very difficult to change, and the beliefs that underpin it can be deep rooted and blind view which can affect the ability to learn. And there are many other influences on culture. When analyzing a business, look for clues as to the type of culture of the organization.